Yo, what's poppin' guys, Sizzle here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the best way to play GameCube and Wii games on your PC, which is of course Dolphin emulator right here. What I won't be showing you is how to back up your NAND or to back up your game. So you can see right here on the left, I have nan.bin, that's a backup from my Wii, which will allow me to play Wii games online through the fan server called Wi-Fi. It's the only way to do it. You go through an actual Wii, get the actual NAND from that Wii backed up, and then you can use it in an emulator to actually play online, which is really, really cool. And besides that, we have a GameCube game right here. Since it's in run and you want to have your GameCube games in .iso or .iso format, any other format for GameCube games can be really buggy and not work. Even though you can back up your GameCube games into other formats like WBFS, you should not. And then for Wii games, WBFS and .iso work all about the same, but WBFS files are just smaller and work better. So generally, if you have the option, try to get a WBFS file. With that all out of the way, let's actually get into setting up the emulator itself and stop talking about the ROMs and all that. So yeah, with Dolphin, you just go to dolphinev.org. I'll have it linked in the description. Hit download Dolphin, and it'll load up the next page. It'll say a bunch of stuff here, read it if you want to. Main thing though, Windows releases require this redistributable for Visual Studio. So we're gonna go open that up, scroll down, and find our download. Right, so x64 right here should be the one most people will need. x86 or whatnot, if you know what that means. Go open. If you haven't installed it like I've installed it here, it'll just be install instead of repair. I'm just going to hit repair to kind of show that off. You get like a little prompt from your admin thing saying, are you sure you want to install this? The answer is yes. You need this to run Dolphin. And once that's all up and ready, which I guess I'll just let run in the background real quick, we can go install Dolphin itself. So go to the most recent one. So in this case, it's the one from 1 month ago. Get that Windows x64 right there. And that will download a 7-zip file, which I'm going to save to the desktop for this tutorial. Alright, with that all downloaded, we can minimize this. This is now finished, so we can go close that. You must restart your computer before you can use the software. I already had it installed ahead of time, so it should be good to go. But you should restart your computer to have that actually work. From here, just extract your Dolphin thing into its own folder. It might take a second because there's a small bit of files, depending on your computer. It doesn't take that long. We're going to go double click into the folder. And from here, you'll have this Dolphin x64 folder. You actually just want to go drag this out into its own thing, because this is the folder where everything's going to be in. We can close out of this folder, delete it, and then open our new Dolphin folder with everything inside of it. From here, if you can see file extensions, you should be good to go, right? If you go to Windows 10, View, you can just turn on file name extensions, and that way you can see the extensions of these files. On Windows 11, it's a little bit more complex. I don't remember how to do it. Hopefully someone in the comments can explain how to do it for you. But if you can see these extensions, these .exes and stuff, just right-click New Text Document and call it portable.txt. If you can't see these .exe, .txt, whatever, just call it portable, right? So just straight up portable. Do not have the .txt afterward, and just call it like that. In my case, since I can see the extensions, we're going to do portable.txt. From here, just double-click Dolphin, and it'll actually boot up right away, and it's technically already ready to play. You authorize Dolphin to report information to developers. I would hit yes here, and that helps them make the emulator better, and this emulator is already amazing, so making it even better is just amazing. And from here, we have a few things we can go configure. I'm going to go to Options, Configurations. We can go start doing that. So from the main config window here, not really much you gotta change. I don't like showing the current name on Discord, so I turn that off. Enable cheats, why not? If you ever plan on using cheats, it'd be annoying to have to remember to click this, so just keep that on. Interface, I like the clean blue theme and the style of dark. It was already using the system theme, which was already dark. You can change that however you like. Everything else here, you can change however you want. I kind of just like everything else as is for the most part. Audio, I'd recommend turning down the volume before you do anything to like 20%, maybe even 10%, because it will be really loud the first time through. So you don't really want to get jump scared by that. Paths, this is where you can set where your games are. In my case, like you guys saw, these ROMs are on my desktop, so I'm going to go hit add and then go add my desktop. just like this right here. Desktop selected, hit select folder. And now with the desktop selected, I also hit search subfolders. That way, if it was in a folder, let's say I had a ROMs folder, instead of linking the ROM folder directly, or if I had a Gamecube and a Wii folder, if you hit search subfolder, it'll look in the folders of wherever you linked here. In my case, it's not in any folders, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Gamecube and Wii and all that, you just kind of leave as is. Some specific games will require you to change some stuff in here, so be aware of these settings, but you don't really need them for most things. And you can see already, we have Monopoly and The Simpsons Hit and Run, time played, the size of the file, whoever made it. It's really, really cool. From here, we can go change a few other things. We go to options and graphics settings. And there's quite a few options we can change here in graphics. Most of them don't really matter. I just like aspect ratio to stretch to window, because that way it'll stretch out to fill your entire Dolphin window. Render to main window. Most of you probably don't want this, but I love having this on, because what that means is whenever I hit play on one of these games, instead of making a second window where the game is loaded in, it'll actually load it right here where the games are listed. Which I find super nice and super easy to use. As for backend, generally the default of Direct3D 11 is the go-to for everyone, but especially if you're on Linux or have AMD hardware, a Vulkan is oftentimes a really good option. I'd recommend that as well. Under enhancements here, you can change a lot of different stuff. If you want to keep the games mostly as default, I just recommend turning output resampling from default to area. But if you plan on using higher resolutions, just leave it on default and then turn the internal resolution up to 1080p. I'll actually show that off better as we load into games. And yeah, that's about all you have to do from there. We can go to options, controller settings, and from here, you'll actually want a controller connected to your system. And I'll show off a real quick rundown of how to configure your controllers. Because the Wii had like 15 different controller extensions, there's really a lot to this. But for most people, if you just want to play GameCube games, make sure standard controller is selected, hit configure. Then when this opens up in the top left, select your Xbox controller, and then just go through each button and press them one at a time. So A, B, X, Y, the button I want Z to be start, up, down, left, right, up on the left stick, left on left stick, and the right stick. This just takes a second. And L and R analog. Generally, the analog stuff goes pretty unused in most of these games, but it's definitely nice to have. And there we go. Now we have everything. As I move my controller around, press the buttons, you'll see they all get highlighted as I press them. They're super cool. You can also connect a Rumble thing if you want to, but I'm not really going to bother with that. I'm just going to call this Xbox and hit save. That way, if I ever accidentally change stuff, I can always go back here. So let's say I accidentally change all this stuff to the B button. I can just go here, select the Xbox, hit load, and you can see it loads right back, which is perfect. To change Wii remote related stuff, you just go hit emulated Wii remote. If you have a real Wii remote connected to your PC, you can actually use it directly. But if you don't, hit emulated Wii remote right here. You'll see there is a lot of different options, including yet again that input, so I can change it to the gamepad. From here, you can change a bunch of stuff. I'm going to leave it as is for now, but do know right here, this extension menu is super useful. You can see nunchuck, guitar controller, guitar, drum kit, DJ turntable, game tablet, drum, right? Bunch of different controllers. You just hit configure extension here. And we're in the extension menu. You can see we can change specific things tied to the extension specifically, which is super useful for any game that uses a nunchuck, classic controller, guitar, or whatever. I'm not going to mess with that for now, just because the defaults are super useful for what we're about to do next. And another useful thing is a background input right here, which basically means when you're tabbed out, you can still pass inputs into the game. This is something I'd recommend. If you actually plan on using real Wii remotes as well, turn on continuous scanning. I'm not, so I'm not going to bother with that. And yeah, from here, I mean, we can definitely already go play the games, but what I'm going to do real quick is set up the Wii menu. If you guys have played any Wii games, you're definitely aware that these are super, super useful. So we go to Tools. We can actually perform online system update for whatever region you want. In my case, let's just do the United States and hit yes. And this will actually install like a Wii system in your emulator. Kind of like if you actually use the real Wii, you know, the Wii menu, it'll show up with that. And we can then set up our Miis, and they'll actually use those Miis for games, which is super, super cool. I'm not actually sure if Monopoly uses those Miis. That might have been a bad game to demonstrate with, but if you want to go play Wii Sports or something with Miis, this is the easy way to do it. If you have your NAND from your original Wii, I'll show how you can import that instead. If you have all your Miis on there, all you have to do is hit Manage NAND, Import BootMe NAND Backup, and then hit yes if you get this warning. It basically means it's going to overwrite the emulator's NAND, so hit yes. And then from here, just select your NAND.bin, and if you hit open, it will overwrite what's in Dolphin with your normal NAND. I'll show that off in a second. But for now, we can go to Tools, and then Load Wii System Menu, which will work with if you just did the update thing I just did. And you can see how it loads in the window, because I had that set earlier. You can also go to View here, and Show Toolbar, you can just turn that off at any point. I'm going to keep it on, just because I like having it there. Yeah, from here, pick your language, hit confirm. You want to try to select above TV because you notice how the mouse and the pointer are desynced. When you hit above TV, they get synced up pretty perfectly. The date doesn't matter, the time doesn't matter. Widescreen is what you always want to select. And that's about it. From here, you'll have a Wii menu. You can go make your Miis. You can have a console nickname, I guess, but no one's ever going to see this. This does not get used by any game ever. Select your country. Also will not be used by anything ever. No parental controls. And here we go. Yeah, you can see we're up in the Wii menu. We can now go to the Mii Maker, make ourselves a Mii real quick to be used with games in the future. And I'm just left-clicking, by the way, with my mouse. By default, Dolphin has the settings set up for Wii Remote that just left-clicks to press A. But we can just go change the face, change the skin color, and then just, I don't know, call this guy C. There we go. That's our boy C. Save and quit. Now we have ourselves a Mii set up in our system, just like so. And if we go into any of the games, C will be there, which is super useful. And once you're done with all that, we can just go stop and go back to an actual game, which I'll show off real quick. I mean, we basically just have everything perfectly set up for us to play. We get a Simpsons hit and run. The game will just boot up. My controller that I set up earlier, the Gamecube controller, will just work once we get past this screen, which might take a second because licensing stuff, and they love showing licensing stuff for a second as you boot in. You can see I could skip past the intro. I guess you can't see this, but I'm pressing stuff on my controller to press stuff in the game. There's audio coming through of the Simpsons hit and run, of course. And I mean, things are just working, right? Things are going to look great, play great, be great. This is all you have to do for Dolphin. It's amazing. If you don't have memory set up, it'll automatically set up memory for you. The game will automatically work, automatically be stretched. You can see I can stretch that to this, I can stretch that to this. However I want to do it, you got it stretch. You can also see it's in a very high quality. If we go back to graphics, it's one of the things you can actually change live. We can go from 3x native to native, and you can see it gets a bit blurrier, maybe not super easily on YouTube, especially if you're watching on a phone. But as you're playing more and more, I mean, especially look at this tablet, you can see, right, go to native, kind of hard to read, kind of like scratched up. I mean, still kind of hard to read 3x native. You can see the texture difference there easiest, but if you look anywhere in the image, and we go from native to 3x, it's really notably different. Although area sampling can have a similar effect a lot of the time while keeping the original quality of the game. So that's definitely worth pointing out. But yeah, if we start a new game, the game runs, works, starts, there's no extra things you have to do. Things will just work. That's showing off Gamecube games up and running, and here's a Wii game of Monopoly, which is going to use our emulated Wii Remote, which I currently still have set to my mouse. You can see the usual Wii loading screen. Once we load in, we got our country of choice. And I forgot if this game uses Miis. I don't think it does, so I won't be able to show that off here. But if you play something like Wii Sports, like Mario Kart Wii, etc., anything that uses the Miis will be loaded now that you have set up the Wii menu from before, and you'll be all good to go. If you need multiple controllers, all you have to do is change it from none to standard controller and go set them up in the exact same way we did before. And yeah, you can see this is Monopoly up and running. Alright, boom, we're Monopoly. Everything is working. It is kind of choppy, but that's just because Monopoly is actually this choppy normally. If you have multiple controllers set up, so if I get a controllers real quick, I can change this to emulated Wii Remote. And if we go back, you can now see the multiple option became available, because even though I haven't set the settings on it, there's technically 2 Wii Remotes there. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Hopefully you guys found this useful. Have fun playing your different games, and I'll show real quick, I guess, the Wii NAND backup up and running just for showing that off. We go to Tools, we go to Manage NAND, Import, hit Yes, and then make our way over to our nan.bin and hit Open. You'd see it takes a millisecond. And now if we go to our Wii menu, you can see it's a different version, because this is the one from my Wii U, I believe, which is why it's a VWii System Menu 5.2 instead of Wii Menu 4.3 US. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day, it'll still use it all the same. But you can see it has all my channels and stuff from my Wii back when my Wii U, I guess, back when I homebrewed it. You can see the Wii U menu, homebrew channel, Mii channel, CGP, all things like that, just in the fake menu right here. And if I go into the Mii channel, you'll notice our Mii from before is actually gone, and it replaces whatever was actually on your real Wii, which in my case was just my old Mii, which just was the hamburger Mii. I have my own personal Mii now that I use for everything, but I did this backup like, I think 3 or 4 years ago, so it's pretty old. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. That should be a really comprehensive guide on how to set up and use the Dolphin emulator to play GameCube and Wii games, and make them look really good with this internal resolution change. I mean, they just look naturally amazing. And with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.